Greetings, eating fans. Beautifulbrian here. I am conducting a Q&A session, roughly about 20 questions. And these are questions that were posed to me throughout the years via email or in person. And I thought now would be an appropriate time to address some of these questions. You know, I could have done this via my website, but I figured it would be more entertaining to do this on YouTube video. This way I could probably get a little more attention than just, you know, jotting down a bunch of questions on my website and then just answering them. I don't think it would get the exposure that that I would want. So, listen, I mean, I don't expect to get thousands of views. I mean, this is going to probably make, I'll probably get 40 hits within about a month. So, I'm not the guy in demand anymore. So, hopefully the loyal fans will look at this and they'll say, hey, you know what, this is pretty cool. So, actually, you know, I shouldn't be doing this on a Jewish holiday. Today's Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, but at least I'm fasting, right? So, I'm doing something half right, I guess. Okay, anyway, I'll try to make these questions as short, or the answers as short and brief as possible. Number one, how long have you competed on the circuit? I've been doing this since 1997. Actually, my sister saw a big sign in the window of the Nathan's restaurant, and it said hot dog eating contest. And she said, "Oh, you got to enter this contest. You'll blow them out. You'll win." Funny thing is with history repeating itself, she's now a vegan, so she wants like nothing to do with any of this crap. Competitive eating or anything with meats. They're considered hard, you know, these vegans consider meat eaters the most horrible people on the face of the earth, which is, in my opinion, totally absurd. So anyway, I entered the contest. I didn't do that well, but the rest is history, and as you know, I'm still competing since 1997 up until the present, so that's pretty cool. Compare the eaters of today to the old-time eaters. Well, you know, there's really like no comparison. The old school eaters like Ed Jarvis, Don Lerman, Charles Hardy, those guys were great. They were masters. I enjoyed competing with them. Also, you know, the good thing about competing with those guys is that I was always within range of their eating ability. I mean, you know, I would lose to them, but you know, I would stay on pace. Whereas with these guys today, these new guys, it's virtually impossible to, you know, it's almost like you know, somebody just beating you to the ground, you know, wrestling to the ground and just beating the hell out of you. A bully just bang, bang, bang. There's no way you're going to win. I mean, and that's the bottom line. That's the only way I could really describe it. These kids today, they're very tough. They train hard. Their bodies are in great shape. Physically, you know, there's very little abdominal fat on them, and they, you know, like I said, they train with gallons of water. They train with the food that they're using at the contest, and they, you know, just can't say enough. I mean, it's like night and day. But I love the old school eaters. They gave me the passion to continue in the sport, and to this day, that's why I'm still sort of barely hanging in there by a thread. What the hell? You know, I guess I'll do it until I just can't do it anymore. Question number 4, do you have an odor? No, I don't. These are mean streak comments that are designed to hurt, incite, and just start trouble, okay? These people, it's actually just one or two, but I don't want to start mentioning names that get, you know, incriminate anyone, but I think we know who they are. These are haters that apparently are very thin-skinned. They took offense to some of the things I said about them on my website, which weren't really that offensive, but it hit home, and this is how they get even with me. It's a rather childish way of getting even because it doesn't make any sense at all. So I'm basically not going to even address this stupid freaking question to an extent, but I did actually address it, and that's it. I'm not going to even discuss it anymore. It's totally fucking ludicrous and stupid. Number 5, what do you think of Sonia Thomas? Sonia is a great eater, a great talent. She's like the Babe Ruth of the females in competitive eating. She actually set a trend, and she broke through a barrier, almost like women's lib. She basically, started it all, and set the pavement, set the way, actually the pavement for women to compete in the sport. And because of her, you have a lot more females competing now and putting up extensive and very impressive numbers. So I give Sonia all the credit in the world. She's a multi-talented, multi-title holder, and I just can't say enough. And I hope she still hangs in there and competes for the next maybe 10, 15 years, who knows. Question number 6, who are some of your favorite eaters? I don't really have a favorite eater. The one eater that I used to emulate, or who was sort of my mentor, was Ed the Animal Crotchy. He was an old school eater. He was actually one of the first Nathan's hot dog eating champions, the first to actually put away 22, well actually no, I think there was someone before Ed that had finally hit the deuce. Ed was the first to eat, I guess, 22 and a half, so he actually held the record in 1994 and 95, I believe, and then he had a few losses to the Japanese guy, Nakajima. That was sad because, they expected Ed to, after he lost to Nakajima, to come back the next year and bring the title back, bring the, the mustard-colored yellow belt to America, and unfortunately he couldn't come through. And I guess that really bugged him, and he was never the same after that. But Ed Crotchy, his method of eating hot dogs has been used by many. I used it myself. Aaron A-Train Ostov incorporated the Ed Crotchy method through me, so it was actually a third-party thing, and he credits me to helping him become the great hot dog eater that he is, and that really gives me goosebumps, and I really thank you, Aaron, for that compliment. Let's see here. Why, number 7, why you hate it so much and what sets you off? Well, this all stems from the website. If I didn't have my website, number 1, I probably wouldn't be known. Number 2, I probably wouldn't be hated. And I guess that really sums it up right there. A lot of people are thin-skinned. They don't have a sense of humor. They don't let things roll off their shoulder. And because of that, that's the reason why I'm hated. I'm not hated by everyone, but there are some people that just took offense to some of the things I wrote. They never forgot that, and they've been holding grudges ever since, and they've been taking it out on another blog. If they didn't have that blog to take out their frustrations, they would have nothing. So I guess they have to have something to vent with, and they use that as a tool to vent against me. So that's basically it. What sets you off? What sets me off? I don't know. Basically, there's not very many things that get me upset or excited, except for when someone ignores my text, or they all of a sudden just decide, not to respond back to me via email, text, blah, blah. I take that as a personal insult. I don't care how busy you are. You can always, because I know for a fact that if I send you a text, you read it, okay, and you are either looking at it and saying, oh, this guy, I don't want to bother responding back. Well, that's fine. You have the option of doing either or, but, I also have the right to say that you're an asshole and you're deliberately ignoring me. So that's basically what sort of sets me off. So you want to know really what presses my buttons, that is the primary factor of what really would set me off. Question number 8. What are some of your regrets in sport? Regrets, well, there's actually 2. One is that I never made it to the big dance in Nathan's Coney Island contest on the 4th of July, and 2, that I was thrown out of the Glutton Bowl. The Glutton Bowl you know, is like a cult video, a session of a number of competitive eaters that got together, that, you know, they all banded together in one great TV show, and, you know, there was anything from sushi to hot dogs to hard-boiled eggs, blah, blah, blah. And I was really excited about this. I was contacted by George Shea back in August of 2001, and he calls me up and says, hey, we got this great thing going. It's going to be, you know, we call this the Super Bowl of competitive eating, and I want you aboard. And I was really happy, and I was thrilled about that. And then I was thinking to myself, is you sure you got the right guy? Because, you know, he doesn't know me very long, and I'm not the greatest eater in the world. I don't know how I'm going to stand up to a lot of these, you know, other sensational eaters who were great at that time. Unfortunately, what happened was the next day I get a call from Mr. Shea, one of his, well, actually not George, one of the guys that works in the office, and he says, you know, he wanted a list of the stats of some of the things, some of the records. I said, well, actually, I didn't have any stats or any records really. I did the J&R Steakhouse thing. I completed it within like 45 minutes, and my maximum hot dogs was like 8 or 9. Is that okay? I was like, they were like, yeah, sure, don't worry about it. You know, Fox is going to call you, blah blah blah. And then I got a call from Fox, and I relayed the same information to them, and they were like, when I mentioned my hot dog total, they said, oh, that's it, that's all. They said, well, I'll tell you what, send us a video, and we'll see what, and, you know, we'll take it from there. So like a moron, I put together a video of me, you know, eating some hot dogs or some shit like that. And I never got a call back from them. Okay, so then I call up, you know, the IFOCE office, and I get Rich Shea on the phone, and I said, Rich, what's the story? You know, I thought I'm going to LA with you guys to go, you know, to compete in the Glutton Bowl. So he's like, well, you know, Fox is kind of funny. I don't know what their problem is. So then I guess I made the cardinal rule error, the error of asking him, well, you know, isn't Mr. George Shea supposed to be my agent? So then he goes off and says something like, well, you know, I'm not really sure about that. I said, well, you know, what is the reason why, you know, I'm getting this runaround like that? So then he explodes, well, what the fuck do you want me to do about it? And I'm like, whoa, all right, okay, you know. I said, have a nice day, whatever. And I was not called for the Glutton Bowl after that. So I don't know if it has anything to do with Fox or that little outburst, but that was, you know, that was the end of my, you know, hopefully my prayers to get into that great TV show went down the toilet, so whatever. Then 9/11 hit, and I thought for sure this thing was nixed. I mean, I thought it was a done deal. Goodbye, forget about it, whatever. And then I found out that these guys still went out there. I think it was actually postponed like a couple of weeks, but they still went out there anyway. And I heard stories, you know, about some of these guys were petrified to take the plane, and they didn't want to travel out to LA because of, you know, 9/11 and more terrorists and whatever. But we were scheduled to fly out there, I believe it was on September 10th. It was one day before 9/11. So I don't know what happened. Apparently they got the word to put this off. I don't know if it was September 10th or 12th, but whatever. I was not invited to the Glutton Bowl, and that is one of my biggest regrets in competitive eating. So, sorry I rambled on too much for that. Let's see here. Question number 9. Are you pissed that you don't get the gossip info like you used to get? Well, let me clear something up. Nobody ever gave me gossip. I never went or confided in a competitive eater to, you know, try to get me sources or information relating to contest information, so forth. Ed Cookie Jarvis was actually the only source I ever had as far as gossip, contest news, information, because he competed in most of these events, and you know, he would get right on the phone afterwards and give me the results. It was really nice of him to do that and give me some little tidbits of what went on during the contest, and that helped this website immensely. It really boosted the readership, and it got me going. You know, that was so I commend Ed for doing that for the time that he was, you know, with the organization. And then when he retired, most of that gossip was gone because, you know, I didn't have the money to fly all over the place like he did. So, you know, that was the end of that. And basically, I rely on, you know, eaters once in a while emailing me or giving me some insight. But I never actually asked people to, hey, you know, can you give me the scoop on this? Can you give me the scoop on that? They go out of their way to try to do things for me, and I'll go out of my way to go on the internet and, you know, find all kinds of little sources, like maybe, you know, I'll go through Twitter every now and then, or Facebook, and, you know, I'll get some info on what went on in that regard. But basically, I'm not a news source. I'm not the news source I used to be. I'm not Reuters. There are other sites that take care of that now, and you know, I just basically sort of report the little, you know, these smaller things in competitive eating now. Not, you know, not major events, results, blah, blah. You could get that anywhere. So, you know, I would just basically be repeating what other websites are putting out there as far as the, you know, the results of the contest and so forth. So, as far as the gossip, it's pretty much limited now. There's not as much as there used to be, and that, of course, is due in part to Mr. Jarvis's retirement. Question number 10. Aren't you a bit too old to compete? Well, hell yeah, man. Of course I am. I mean, everybody knows that. I shouldn't be doing this at my age. We're 53. You know, most people at this time are, you know, eating applesauce and raisins. I mean, I shouldn't be putting this kind of food into my system. Every contest is a big if for me, but I do it because I enjoy it. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. So if I could compete from time to time on a, you know, on a limited basis, like Will Chamberlain once said, he could probably, and this is when he was like 60 years old, a couple of years before he passed away. He even said that he would like to compete in the NBA on a limited basis. You know, he thinks he can still do the job. Unfortunately, it never, you know, that never transpired. But and I feel like, you know, I'm in the same boat. So if I could compete every now and then and, you know, have fun and try to put up a personal best, then to me, that's all worthwhile. Let me see here. Question number 11. Has anyone ever called you out personally? No, it's never happened. No one has ever confronted me and, you know, given me lectures on what a bad boy I am, blah, blah, blah. It's never happened. So time you read that crap, don't believe it. These are just instigators looking to start trouble. I don't think anyone would dare come to my face and tell me, you know, hey, you know something? I'm the guy who outed you on Eat Feeds or whatever, blah, blah. You know why they won't do that? Because they know I'll tear them to pieces on my website and on that site. So they're smart to remain anonymous. And like I said, it's less than a handful, and I know who they are. So we'll end it at that. Why don't you do challenges on YouTube? Well, I mean, you know, that's dangerous, man. I mean, you know, if you want me to, like, drink a gallon of olive oil or drink a gallon of apple cider vinegar, well, that's fatal, man. I mean, you know, is it worth dying on YouTube to get 1 million hits, but I'll never be there to see it? I mean, you know, the whole fun of the video is to be alive, you know, and enjoy the response and the fan support. And when you're 6 feet under, what's the point? So I mean, I'll do like a challenge every now and then, like, you know, a couple of McDonald's burgers or blah, 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 or, you know, some pasta, but I'm not going to go overboard and go crazy like some of these other nut jobs out there. It's just not my style. I would love to if I was younger. I swear to God, I would do it in a heartbeat. But at my age now, you know, it's just not going to work. This is not 1985, and that was like the year that I probably could have done all that shit. So whatever. Let's see. What are some of your favorite YouTube videos? Let's see. Favorite YouTube videos? I would have to say the, you know, I assume this person is referring to my YouTube videos. The Brad Furious Pete diss video was probably a classic. Let me also make mention that they will be using that in the new movie Hungry. Several, you know, the two clips that I did, the one from 2008 with Brad and the more recent one in 2012 at the Criff Dogs, where it was Brad 4 years later. It was basically a relentless attack on some guy that's supposedly a bodybuilder, and Brad took offense to, you know, this guy going back on the internet and talking shit about Brad using a fake identity to get into the contest, and he got all pissed off, and you know, and basically this Furious Pete guy, the way he got revenge was not to confront Brad directly, but to use all his friends from bodybuilding.com to wail away on this guy. I mean, was it effective? Was it, yes, it was effective, because most of my hits came from these people. I mean, so in a way I got some exposure. Brad took most of the heat, but Brad's still standing there, and you know, kid's a little crazy, but you know, he had asked me, you know, he really wanted to do this video, and I sort of put it off in Buffalo when we did it, because I didn't know where he was headed with this. First he wanted to do it in a bar at night, and the next morning I was hoping he'd forget about it, but then bright and early, man, he just approached me out of nowhere and says, listen, you want to do this video? I said, oh, what the hell, let's get it over with it. Brian's cousin, Craig Fitzpatrick, he videotaped the entire video. And when he was shooting that video, it was like somebody had a gun to his head. It was like, you know, I better do this right, or God forbid. I mean, his hands were shaking. And he was actually not trying to shake, but holding that camera steady, like, God forbid, I don't want to ruin this. So it was something else. That was one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite times out in Buffalo back in 2008. Some of my videos were real hot back then. Okay, let's see here. Is anyone? Why don't? Okay, we got that. No, let me put on some light, man. This isn't too dark. Okay, next question is, what is your favorite Beautifulbrian episodes? Actually, my favorites, and I think my favorite episodes are actually the ones that got the most hits. Thousands of hits on the Crazy Legs Conti episode at Coleman's Bar and Grill. The one with Charles Hardy, where he calls out Dale Boone. And of course, one of them was a pay-per-view, Beautifulbrian's Corner with Joe Manchetti. And to this day, Joe Manchetti has told me that he has never watched the show. Sort of brings back remnants of Elvis Presley in Jailhouse Rock. Elvis claims he never watched that movie because the co-star in that movie, unfortunately, was killed in an automobile accident, the female co-star, a few months before the movie actually hit the screens. And that was pretty sad. So I don't know what Manchetti's problem is, so Nobody died in that episode, in the Beautiful Brian's Corner episode, so no reason for him to take a moratorium on that, or maybe he just didn't like the way he looked in the show. Question number 15, do you regret not performing on stage? Well, actually, that whole Elvis thing was stupid, okay? I don't sound anything like the guy. I've listened to myself on numerous recordings. You know, it was just a bad impression, let's put it this way. Would I ever do it again? Somebody would have to offer me some money, because, you know, I'm not going to make an ass of myself and jump on stage and try to imitate the king of rock and roll. It's just not going to work out. So, I mean, we had some fun when we did it. It was, you almost, when you put on that Elvis outfit, you almost feel like you are Elvis Presley in some ways. It didn't go over very well with some of the fans. Some people liked it. The majority of people thought I stunk, so I don't think I would do it again. Let's see. And I think this is probably the last question. Why do women hate you so much? I guess they were speaking of the new competitive eaters that are hitting the scene. You know, it's like a clash of the minds. I always hit it off nicely with these new up-and-coming female eaters. I give them advice. You know, everything is strictly platonic. There's nothing sexual about it. I've never been attracted to Asian women. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just like so. It's almost like having a gay friend. There was never any physical attraction. Some of them are very pretty. Some of them are very nice. But I was just never, physically attracted to them. And that's how it's been. But that's not the reason why, this question was posed. Basically, what happens is that sometimes, somewhere down the road, other people get a hold of them via email, text, and tell them to stay away from this Brian Syken guy, okay? And most of the time they ignore it, and they say, they probably say to themselves, well, he's been cool with me, so I'm not going to prejudge him. If you have an issue with him, then that's your problem. But then as time goes by and I start to probe them on different information and stuff like that, or I might write something on my website that doesn't sit well with them, then they start to see that other person's point of view, and they tend to ignore me after that. And I know when someone's ignoring me and someone's staying cool with me and staying in contact with me. And when they start that, that's when the red flags go up. And that's when, the animosity starts, and that's when there's problems. So that has happened with 2 female eaters that I could think of off the top of my head, and that's about it. So that's why I sort of I learned my lesson is right now to keep my distance from them. I try to stay in contact with just one, and that's Sonia. She does respond to my emails, and I'm honored that she does that because, she rarely responds to anyone. So, she knows I've been with her for, we've been in this sport for about close to 10 years, and she knows what makes my head tick, and she knows what pisses me off and what doesn't. And we have this common bond, which is real cool, and, we started our websites together. SoniaTheBlackWidow.com started, I believe, in September 2003, around the same time that Beautifulbrian.com started. So that's pretty cool in itself. And I guess that about wraps it up, man. I hope I didn't keep you guys too long. There are other Q&A sessions out there. I want to give a shout out to Joel the Cannon Podolsky. He has one coming up very shortly on his incredible journey in losing 107 pounds. And I'm really anxious to watch that. And then you got that other guy the LA Beast. There were 2 questions on that Q&A session which had me cracking up. And one of them was, they asked him if he was presently employed. He says, I had a job, but I don't have one now. And then the other part where he got up from the chair and after he farted and there was an odor from the seat, he says, girl in high school, I really liked her a lot, but I farted. Classic, man. Beautiful Brian here. This was my Q&A session. If this goes over well, I might do a, goes over well with the fans, we might have a part 2, you never know. But anyway, stay hungry, and I'll see you soon, and hopefully at one of the next competitive eating contests. Have a good one.